On today's video, we're talking all about fueling and what's better. Should you be using gels? Should you be using bars? Or should you be eating real food? Is there one better than the other? That's exactly what we're going to be digging into in today's video. My name is Brad. I'm from CoachParry.com, where we help you become fitter, faster, and stronger. And I'd love to know your opinion. What do you use? Do you use gels? What have you found works for you? Please pop them into the comments. Are you a fan of bars, or do you prefer real food? Bananas, dates, those sorts of things. Pop them into the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts, and while you're at it, make sure you smash the like button as well for us. It really does help us grow this YouTube channel and help more runners just like you. We're joined by our head coach today, Lindsey Parry, and he's coming up next. Today we're talking about fueling, and in particular the difference and what's better, gels, bars, or real food. Lindsey, great to touch base once again. This is a debate that's raged for a long time. Is one better than the other? Are gels better than bars? Are bars better than real food? Or what would you suggest someone use in their runs?
Yeah, look, I don't. People don't like people sitting on the fence. They like a black or white answer, but I don't have that, because, to be honest, I don't feel like one is necessarily better than the other. I feel that different people respond differently to different products, and I think if it's easy, convenient, and doesn't cause you any issues to take in gels and energy drinks, then that is a much easier way to make sure that you're getting enough energy on race day. And so if gels do work for you, I would encourage the use of them, and they certainly work really, really well for me. So then it would become a question of calculating how many, how often do you need them. And then perhaps when you get to ultramarathon running again, where you're going to be in a situation of taking them all day, then there might be again room for something else, something more real that just cuts through the sweetness. And then, of course, if you are suffering from gastrointestinal distress, or you really can't stand the texture, or they make you feel nauseous, whatever. I mean, there's lots of people that respond to using gels and the like differently. And if you are in that batch of people, then moving to real foods and using things like dates and raisins and energy bars, often, although they are also artificial, often don't respond in the same way. So then you might be someone that'll try nougat bars, or sweets, bananas, potatoes, even little sandwiches. If you're in a race where you're going to see people often and they're going to personally second you, little cutting sandwiches into little bite-sized pieces and eating sandwiches is a pretty good way to go. But yeah, so really it does boil down to your individual preferences in terms of taste. What we do know is that if you're doing exercise that lasts longer than 2 hours, if you're doing very high intensity, even exercise of an hour and a half, you will benefit from some supplementation, but it becomes much more important for exercise that's lasting longer than 2 hours. And exercise lasting longer than 2 hours, they talk about 1 gram of carbs per kg of body mass. Obviously, as soon as you get to 65, 70 kilograms, that starts to become a lot harder than it sounds. 60 grams of carbs in an hour is fairly manageable, but it's starting to get difficult. And so again, I always like to talk to people, if you're eating well, if your diet is good, then you will have enough reserves that we can spread out those first 2 hours across. So we amortize those 2 hours across the duration of the event that you're doing. And then that will typically, certainly in a marathon, that'll probably drop you down to between 30 and 45 grams an hour that you need, which is much more manageable. Over the course of an ultra, you're probably looking at 45 to 50 grams an hour, which is also not too bad to get that in. But you need to work that out, look at the packaging of the products that you're using, and then from there figure out how often you need to take what you need to take. And what works for you, and that's what you're going to stick to on race day.
Yeah, Lindsay, I mean, obviously, you mentioned there are advantages and disadvantages of each. I mean, gels are super convenient, but they don't always agree with your stomach. And real foods are great, but they're not the easiest to carry, sort of thing. How do you go about testing what the best is for you? Have you got any advice for someone to figure out if it is working or if it's not working?
Long runs are always the best time to do that. But there is a little asterisk there, is that we are on long runs, we always run at very low intensity. And generally, most things are quite agreeable if you're running at a low enough intensity. So use the long runs to decide on what you like, what you find easy to eat and breathe at the same time, and then test it in a few races that are a little bit less important, even if they're shorter than your goal race. So you might run a half marathon at goal race pace, for example, and then that's the situation where you want to really test it out, because when you are breathing harder, it is hard, it makes it more difficult to take in what you need. And when your exercise intensity goes up, there is less blood in the digestive system. And so you do need to test these things when you're in a little bit of a race situation. So set your baseline in your long, easy runs because it's easy and convenient, and then 1 or 2 tests at race pace over an hour to an hour and a half period.
Brilliant. Lindsay, as always, great to catch up. Thanks for your time today. Much appreciated. And if you do have any follow-up questions or if you'd like to know more, feel free to pop those into the comments or onto the forum on the Coach Parry training app. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget, if you don't want to miss any of our upcoming videos, make sure you hit the subscribe button over here. You can also download a free strength training plan that'll help you improve your running. You can pick that up right over here. Be sure to watch our most popular video over here. And while you're at it, check out our latest video over here.